Welcome to the Shockwave Therapy Podcast. My name is James Woolidge, osteopath and clinical director at the Abbeyfields Clinic in Suffolk. We will be trying to demystify the concept of shockwave treatment whilst bringing together experts in their field to discuss the latest research. If you are deciding on whether to add this modality into your clinic or just improve the way you deliver it, then we hope this is the podcast for you.
Hi, Volker. So thanks for joining me, Volker. I'm pretty sure as we met about 3 months ago at UK at the Innovations, I didn't pronounce your name right then. Can you just remind me what it's pronounced as?
Okay, so it's Volker. So it's a German name, Volker.
Gotcha.
And Volker Westerholt, yeah.
And can you just let everyone know your role? So you work for Storz Medical. And can you just let everyone know what your role is there at Storz?
So I'm a product manager at Storz Medical for, around about 5 years. And I started as product manager for the Magnetolith, so for EMTT.
Yeah.
And over the time, I went into various projects and areas. So I cover radial shockwave therapy, focused shockwave therapy, but mainly related to orthopedics.
So we're here today because there's been something. I got a little bit of insight onto one of the new machines that Storz has developed, which is very cool. But you are also known as Magneto Man for your EMTT development. And although strictly speaking, this is called the Shockwave Therapy Podcast, I have one of these machines as part of my regenerative set of machines.
Right.
Could you just give everyone a little bit of a summary of the development of EMTT and how it relates to PEMF devices and what makes it a little bit different and powerful? Could you just give us an overview of what Magnetolith is?
I would start first of all with a question. Okay, what are the commonalities between Shockwave and EMTT?
Okay.
So first of all, Shockwave, as you know, uses shockwaves as a signal, as a physical signal, to have kind of a biostimulation. And EMTT uses as well a physical signal. However, it is a pulse magnetic field. Okay, so that's the main difference. And with this, we are inducing current into the tissue, which is then leading to biostimulation, if you want to say it like that.
And when people are using, so in essence, we had this separation some time ago which was my journey 14 years ago with radial shockwave therapy, or some people call it acoustic wave because it's not a true shockwave, but that it had this sort of almost pro-inflammatory reactionary event in the tissues which stimulated the body to go on and heal. And we still use that concept in terms of stubborn tendinopathies and myofascial pain. And then we have focused shockwave therapy, which is more of a cellular level, anti-inflammatory, regenerative process. In effect, there are some similarities with radial, but it has a distinct biological effect. How do you see, for those people that, because we get asked, or I get asked a lot, when I'm teaching, at what point, should I be buying an EMTT as relative to sound wave machines, which are radial? And how do you see the difference there in terms of how it affects different tissues and what we'd use it for as clinical indication?
Yeah, well, there are certain indications which you may heard of. Everything related to bones is for EMTT, an indication which is working quite well. So, for instance, we had a pilot study for bone edemas in the pubis area, which we treated quite well. So I think that is something where you can differentiate. But on the other hand side, you can also say, okay, if you do a combined therapy, then you have kind of accelerated healing. So we had a very interesting study on rotator cuff tendinopathy where we showed sham, EMTT and shockwave versus shockwave and EMTT, where we could show accelerated healing. So I think the differentiation in terms of indication might be at a certain stage difficult. I would rather go into the area like with EMTT, that you can address quite a large area very easily. You can go quite deep into the tissue. You do not work specifically on one spot, so you address quite a large field. And but let's say the healing mechanisms are almost kind of comparable, let's say.
Yeah.
However, there are certain indications where you have EMTT working better, like for Shockwave, such as bone treatment.
When we, as teachers, there were about 4 or 5 of us that you met at Innovations, and when we went off with our EMTTs, whatever, it was about 4 years ago, and then came together at one particular teaching event again, and we struck upon the fact that, you know, this is still anecdotal, but it was interesting to say, have you seen how amazing it is for anterior hip pain, which is notoriously difficult to treat, whether it be hip flexor. But I think that speaks of what you're saying, is the beauty of it is it treats that entire area around the front of the hip. And you could argue whether it's labrum, it's a CAM deficiency, it's a bit of early arthritis. In lots of these cases, you're not that sure. It's quite nice because when you put it on that area, it almost immediately reproduces their pain, which is therapeutically really important for patients to feel someone's finally found my pain. And you put it on the front of the hip, and more than any other part of the body we concurred, it's truly amazing. And
absolutely.
I know that you are Storz, and I have a Storz machine, but I'm as cynical as the next person, because there are lots of things when I teach and people say, do you think you could use Shockwave for that? And I'm often a bit of a nace. I said, it won't work. You know, these things they will work for, but EMTT's got some surprises that you can put it on those areas. Also quite useful for acute cases. So we tend to see Shockwave chronic, and I will, the first thing when I've got an acute case in is EMTT, calm it down, reduce pain.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is that's a good point. So the idea is basically that with EMTT you use pain at the first stage, which allows you also then afterwards to proceed, for instance, with a Shockwave or with other therapeutic options. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, as much as this is not an EMTT show, it's a Shockwave show. I'll encourage. There'll be links after this if people have never heard of it. I would have thought that most of the people that subscribe to this have probably heard, but I'll link after this to EMTT so people can have a look at it. But we're here mostly today because you've just launched, which is a new radial Shockwave device called the Icon, and I've seen this. I have yet to have it delivered, but it's coming, I'm led to believe. And its design and the things that it does differently are, I think, truly game-changing. So I thought, well, why not get the guy that helped design it and deliver it? So over to you. Give a quick summary about how you think this is now literally next generation. What are the differences? What has Storz done with this?
Yeah, well, there are various areas to talk about. So when we started with our development, a couple of years ago already, I can't imagine. We were first of all starting with a product vision. Okay, so what do we want to change? Where we want to put emphasis on? And the most important topic was to increase working ergonomics, to make the work more handy, more easy. And we were thinking like the handpiece as an extension of a therapeutic arm. So that was one area. So everything to be done to make it more easy, handy, and leaner working with. And the second point was increasing the performance, and by increasing the performance to give also the therapist a wider range of treatment possibilities. So that was the second step, and the third one was that we put that into a nice looking device. So we had also a look onto design elements, and that it really fits nice into your working area.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that struck me when you were giving your presentation was how I mean, it seems so ridiculous to people that haven't got this machine and seen what it does, but just the fact that the wires are no longer draping on the floor, because sometimes that can happen with the old machines, moving a trolley around in a busy clinic, and you think everything has just been properly thought out. Not that the other one was improper, but and the drawer coming out with all of this sort of stuff. You'd have no mess. When I bought my first machine, the reason why I bought Storz was because I was going to invest a lot of money in this, and it looks premium. And people do forget this. Most of the people that have these machines are working in private practice, and when you're charging a premium for it, it needs to look like it's a premium bit of kit that patients are going to get good benefit from. I don't think that that's I don't think that that's too cynical a thing to say. I think it needs to look like it's going to deliver. And this new one, the Icon, looks just fantastic.
Thank you very much.
It does.
Yeah, it will absolutely. It will deliver. But as you said, so if we have a look to the device, so without talking about the performance yet, really every single detail has been looked at in order to improve the workflow, and like hanging cables, that they are not getting stuck in the trolley.
Yeah.
That we have these swiveling drawers where you can store everything which is required for treatment. So really all bits and pieces are basically summing up in order to make it as smooth and as efficient for you guys to work with in a professional way. Yeah. So like comparable to a dental workplace. Yeah. So everything is really nice and clean sorted. You can work in a professional way.
So just talk to me about, because the other thing that's been completely different is how the ballistic energy, because for those people that are perhaps new to the show, you've got focus shockwave, a very different type of technology, but radial pressure wave, radial shockwave is a ballistic energy where there is a metal projectile that's pneumatically pushed up and down a tube, in essence. Yes. That's been wholly re-engineered now, hasn't it? So that's one of the things that's allowed, I am assuming, you to increase power, energy delivery at the tissue, and hertz level. So what's changed there in terms of the engineering?
So the main focus during the development was, as you said, to have a look onto the behavior of the bullet in this guiding tube, and that is actually the key point. So it's based on Newton's law. So you have a projectile which hits the transmitter, and the transmitter is generating a radial shockwave. And if you have the ability to exactly influence the behavior of this bullet, then you can also influence the pulse characteristics at a later stage. We have a new technology, so it's called dual valve technology, and we have actually two valves. So one valve is accelerating the bullet towards the transmitter, and the second one is actually moving the bullet into the other direction back. And that is giving us a lot of possibilities. And with this, as you said, we can extend the frequency up to 27 hertz in a standard working mode, and keeping and maintaining the intensity on highest level. That is one side, but on the other hand side, we have also the ability to treat in a very low intensity range. So we can go lower than 0.3, what we haven't been able to do previously, which is can be used for very sensitive areas, for instance. So all in all, we have really a very large room of performance.
So it would go down to 0.3 bar and still be able to deliver that hertz?
Yeah, exactly. So it goes up to 0.1. What we try to avoid is talking about bar, because at the end, the bar isn't the proper value actually to measure. So the right value would be millinewton seconds, which is a combination of the speed of the projectile and the weight of the projectile. However, we are using these intensity levels, which are comparable to the bar levels which we used previously.
Okay, I understand. There's a bit of physics there that always loses me a little bit, to be honest. But ultimately, the one thing you always say about focus versus radial is that for very, very, very painful insertional tendon problems, it's very difficult to use radial because it's too painful. But to a certain extent, what you've said about this new device is that we can tackle with more confidence those very painful insertional tendinopathies better.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
all we need to
exactly.
know.
So that is a crucial point, so that we can go on a very, very low intensity level, providing a radial shockwave, however, without causing pain. So like
Right.
as you described for acute or highly inflamed areas. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. And then the other thing, which we were having when I came over to Switzerland, we had that first experience of burst mode, which got everyone excited. Principally because we're middle-aged men get excited by technology, but the hertz goes up to 50 hertz. Is that right?
Correct. So the burst mode, that is really our, let's say, high performance extreme area, where you can shoot up to 50 hertz with short interruptions in between, and that also with highest intensity even. And the idea is basically that you have such a fast frequency that you're kind of masking the pain during the treatment. So it is really, if you're working in this high intensity areas with this burst mode, you do not feel the same pain, let's say, if you would work, let's say, with three or 3 bar equivalent in a lower frequency area.
And so is there an actual button on the machine where you press it and it continually goes through burst mode, or do you have to press something for each burst?
It's like a turbo button. So there's the main button to start the device, and if you keep it pressed, then it starts bursting depending on the intensity what you have chosen before.
Gotcha. And with that, you've got, because with the radial devices, you also have a V-actor, which is that really nice massage vibration therapy.
Yes. So the V-actor is it's a fantastic complementary tool to start your treatment beforehand. You go into a radial shockwave treatment in order to increase the metabolism in general, in order to increase blood flow. And also here we can go up to 100 hertz now with maintaining highest intensity, and that's really a game changer in treatment with a V-actor.
We do get some people when they're asking us advice about what machine they should get, and they say, it's a reasonably expensive add-on. Am I not just can I not just get a vibration massage gun? And I said, well, you could, but you do have to realize the difference between the two. When you have felt one and felt the other, there is a difference.
Yeah. So according to my last market assessment, which is around about 1 year old, I saw that these devices which you get on the market go up to 40 hertz, and here we have more than double than that. And as I said, by also keeping the intensity level high at the same time, so it is not comparable to, let's say, the devices which you find on eBay or somewhere else.
So what, from a sort of marketing point of view for people that are listening, is there now, because you've just released a new range of MP50s and MP100s, is that right?
Yeah.
The new range of
the
basic radial device has now been slightly miniaturized in size, so they're more portable.
Correct. Yeah.
They look pretty cool because you've got the same digital display built into the device.
Yeah.
As the EMTT does. So I guess is it Storz's aim to sort of have almost like radial shockwave basic, radial shockwave advanced, which is icon, and then you have focus shockwave over here as something different? Is that the idea behind this?
That's exactly the positioning. So we have the entry level models. As you said, it is more or less the same technology what we had before. However, also some slight changes in there. But the idea was to make it more compact, to make it that you can use it on a sports area, that you can carry it around. But keeping it really solely focused on the treatment itself. So keep it simple. Whereas with the Icon device, we really set a complete, entirely new benchmark in radial shockwave therapy. And the interesting part for me is with the increased performance, and so with a high frequency and with a low intensity area, that is giving you, let's say, a new or a wider playground to play with. So with the other devices described, you can really treat standard indications, also a quite range of treatments. However, with the icon, it opens you up new possibilities in radial shockwave therapy in general. So that's going to be the exciting one for the future as we go on with this device.
And you know, I know that you don't want to answer this question because you got asked it. This is the first question always gets asked, and you're the product manager, so I'm not going to ask it, which is about price because I don't know what the price point is for it either. But there's people that listen to this podcast around the world. People will ask, no doubt, when is it coming to one particular country or another? So it's pretty much being released at the moment, isn't it? This is the end of this year.
Yes. So we literally started last week on Wednesday, respectively, a couple of weeks before in UK at the Venn Innovations meeting. Yeah, we are starting and providing the first devices now to our first customers. So we're focusing on CE regions first, and then as we speak, we start getting market approvals in other countries such as the US or in Asian countries. But we do start here in Europe, in UK, in Germany, so in our key regions actually.
One of the reasons why it takes so long, as I've heard this as well from other people at Storz, is that trying to get it through European regulations, so to speak, is really difficult, right? In terms of passing all the tests.
Absolutely.
Safety, effectiveness, etc., is really hard. Right. One assumes once you've done it for Europe, it's slightly easier in other countries to then pass those particular tests.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully. However, every market gets its own approvals or requirements to get it approved. But we have MDR, so medical device regulated. So that's a completely new approval, and yeah, that was definitely time consuming. However, it is giving us now the possibilities to grow into EU markets for the next years. Yeah.
Okay.
Without changing from MDD to MDR.
Sure. One of the things I'm interested in, I hadn't forgot to ask this myself, but people would have a concept of like what. Because at the moment, with a radial device, you can service it yourself, in effect, with changing the tube and the projectile inside. With a focus device, it's significantly more expensive, and you have to have an engineer come visit you at the clinic, which is costly. You know, you have to drop a few patients during the day. So what does the icon look like? Is that going to be a similar approach, or does that need an engineer to? What are the service intervals for that?
Absolutely. So that's a very good point. So the service, like changing a guiding tube and the projectile, can be done by the user themselves, like they used to do.
Yeah.
However, we increased the lifespan. So with our Ultra devices, we have 1 million pulses per revision kit, and now we have doubled to 2 million. And that is definitely reducing the costs, the running costs on your side in the future as well.
So that's 2 million for the icon, but still the older MP technology is still 1 million.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. I understand.
But you need to be careful with the burst mode, as you have the ability to apply a lot of shocks in a very, very short time. Sure. Which is, of course, adding up to the pulses.
And I'm assuming, like the MP, whether we use the vibration, the massage type act, that doesn't get incurred into these numbers and shocks.
No, that is exactly so. There is no lifespan on that because you do not have wear and tear parts which need to be changed. So it's not adding up, and it is also free of maintenance.
Gotcha. I think that, unless there's anything else you want to add in terms of the research and what this is going to bring to the market. I mean, we sort of discussed the fact that it fits in that nice bit between focus and the MP.
There's
always going to be this thing when we go, you know, which one should I buy? Is radial best for my practice? Is focus best for a practice? And now we're going to get hit with lots of questions about, can I just get an icon? And does that not just tick both boxes in a way? But I guess there's still distinct differences between them.
Yeah, definitely. So it's still a radial shockwave, even though that you can penetrate deeper to the tissue. However, at the end, the energy which you deliver with a focus device on a certain spot is of course still higher. But I think that we are moving more into the area of focused shockwave devices, such as like planar shockwave therapy, for instance. So I can imagine that we are entering into that area with our Master Pulse icon in the future.
Exciting! I can't wait till I get my new machine.
There is one last thing missing, and basically we could talk forever about the new device. What is also very important and interesting to highlight is one new functionality what we have implemented, that is the RFID recognition. So
yes, with the applicators.
Exactly. So whatever applicator is connected to the handpiece, it's been automatically recognized. And the interesting part here is that if you log your treatment, so depending on an indication which you assign to a respective person, then each emitted pulse is being recorded, and that is giving us a very good outlook in terms of providing the user with proper treatment data. So we know exactly what transmitter has been used with its transmitter characteristics. We know what kind of treatment parameters has been used, and that is giving us the possibility on the one hand side to provide failure-free automated treatment reports, but on the other hand side, it is building up very, very good treatment data, which hasn't been in the past with this accuracy, with this clarity, and automated failure-free. So I think that is also a very nice development, which is giving us a lot of possibilities for the future.
So let's use for an example me treating a GTPS. That's the outside pane of the hip. So that we treat the tendon, and we treat also the myofascias around the area. I would use one head for the actual tendon, and I would use a broad head for the myofascias around the area. So if I logged it as one treatment for one patient name, and then I swapped out the applicator for another applicator to carry on the treatment on this bit, would it log that entire treatment with those two different applicators?
Exactly. So we know each treatment step, and with this we logging information. So what is the amount of pulses which you have used on a certain transmitter, and once you change to another transmitter, then we do start that from scratch again. So you will get later on a fully blown treatment report with each treatment steps and what transmitter has been used, what energies, total energies delivered. So really very detailed information about your treatment.
So you could, in effect, audit your clinic with multiple users, saying that actually probably what is looking at when we're treating this particular is that Joe Bloggs over here treats it with these two heads, and over the course of a year seems to be getting better results in terms of pain scores, functional hip scores, which is really interesting.
Correct.
Saying, well, his particular way of doing it has a better outcome generally.
Yeah. So that's exactly the point. So at the end, you can compare various treatment habits, let's say, on specific indications. So how are they being used or treated? And you can derive out of that, maybe for the future, more recommendations in order to improve your habits if you, for instance, deviate from standard treatment.
That is really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's a very large potential in it. And as I said, if you have a look to various kind of studies which are around, so it starts basically with, what device has been used, which is quite often unclear, what kind of transmitter has been used, and these transmitters and in terms of different materials, different shapes, they have also different behavior. So that is very often unknown. And then going into details like treatment parameters, you have maybe average values in the best case.
Yeah.
So, all these studies are very inaccurate. And in the future, we have the ability with the Master Pulse icon to give really very, very precise data on treatments.
And we can share that data amongst ourselves within a clinic, or potentially within a number of colleagues in other clinics, and pull that data?
Well, at the moment, it's stored in the device.
Yep.
So you can extract that data for yourself. And we are building on comprehensive dashboards where you can filter on indications, for instance, or on gender and age, and where you really can drill down into deeper analysis. And that is something, of course, what can be shared.
That's great. That's really good, isn't it? Because it's like you say, anecdotal differences. We all do things slightly differently, but no one's really sure who's doing it exactly right. One would assume there must be a particular way, to be open about our data and say, this is what we do. That'd be great.
Correct. So it's always, if you have a look to all the studies, so everybody's still searching for this holy grail, So what is the proper setting? And at least we don't know exactly with providing this data, but at the end we have at least transparency.
Yes.
And this transparency is at the moment entirely missing.
Yeah.
At least in this level of knowledge. Yeah.
How are your muscle ups coming on? We said that you'd not really got one yet.
Yes, exactly. I need to train on that. However, I also need to get prepared for the winter season. Right. So I do skateboarding, snowboarding, or at least preparing for that. Gotcha. So I have my trampoline board, but muscle up, we have to look. So maybe I can compete with you the next time.
All right, fine. Well, I'll work on it. Okay, right. Well, thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, James, thank you very much for having me.
Your very nice products. It really does look fantastic. Everyone's got to click on the link and have a look at what you've managed to achieve. It is, it's a pretty special bit of kit. Anyway, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you very much, James.
See you later.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one. See ya. Bye-bye.